All right, get your asses back in the chair. I've still got 90 minutes to whoop your asses.
You see me kick them out. I think I'm from the Midwest.
Yeah, this is a fun place to be. Welcome to my world, won't you come on in? All right, so one of the things that, again, when you talk about mental training secrets for success, which is really what this night was about, it's always, to me, if I could just pull a matrix on your ass and just plug it in and download it, I would. But remember that nothing I'm teaching you and sharing with you is magic. Or is it? Or is it? I don't think, it's often been said that technology, any significantly advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. If you're a sci-fi buff or you've heard those things, it's something you've heard before. I have a slightly a different variation. Just because we sufficiently understand a specific technology doesn't make it any less magical. There is magic in each and every one of you. You're more alike than not. And that's the beauty of it. You're different enough to be precious and special. And the same enough that miracles can happen for you and for you and for you and everyone. What I gave you tonight, and what I'm going to continue to give you until it's time to go, are some ways to tap into that magic. And some of you are going to score home runs, some of you are going to get base hits. That's okay. Because the more you play, the more you'll grow. Okay? Now when we start this next piece, we're going to build on what we've done. Getting rid of blocks to our success, getting rid of barriers, getting rid of fears. First thing to understand is that nothing's going to change. When I say nothing, I mean everything we've done up to this point is going to be factored into what you're already doing. But there's 2 levels, actually 3, depending on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. There's 2 or 3 levels of change. Tonight is about simple changes. To understand the difference between a simple change and a level 2 change or a level 3 change, we need to make a distinction between A, mindset and skill set, and B, something that is episodic or something that is, as the CBT players say, characterological. Characterological things tend to manifest 0 to 5. When you start deep dishing into the whole sequence of events and chronology that led to having a certain filter or certain identity in place, you're dealing with characterological things. But there are other things that are more episodic, once and done things or things like that. You'll find more often than not that there is you can make anything characterological. Because the neurology is designed by God, the universe, divine providence, or just some crazy woman on steroids up there, to seek connection with every other part of itself. Now when I talk about connection, I'm not just talking about warm, fuzzy, huggy, feely feelings. It's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a vibrational predisposition that has its roots in the laws of physics. You've all heard the old Easter egg or the old story about if you have 28 women in a dorm, within 2 or 3 months, magic happens. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. The PMS fairy comes, and everybody gets it at the same time, right? All their menstrual cycles synchronize. Now, the interesting thing is, there's also a mass exodus as all the men leave the state. But if you take a room full of, if those of you who are more physics-based, that's biophysics, by the way, or biochemistry. If you take a room full of clocks with pendulums, and they're all moving at different rates and speed, within a very short time, all the pendulums on all the clocks in that room will start moving in the same direction at the same speed, regardless of how they're programmed. If you go to YouTube, and they've actually done this now, where they've taken like 48 different metronomes, have them all moving at different speeds, and then within as little as 2.5 minutes, every single metronome starts moving in unison. You see, anything that is subject to the laws of physics seeks rapport. It seeks entrainment. It seeks coherence with other rhythmic sources. Is there anything in our universe that doesn't move besides my 25-year-old? Anything that is molecularly driven is motion. Okay? Every nerve, the neuroscientists tell us that every nerve in your body is trying to connect with every other nerve in your body. The drive for connection is a physical principle of this universe. Understand that? We talked about metronomes. We talked about menstrual cycles. We talked about pendulums, or the swinging pendulums on clocks. Each and every one of you has a powerful rhythmic source inside of you right now. It's called your heart. The human heart radiates an electromagnetic field that is measurable with instruments 8 feet in diameter from the body. The proprioceptive division of your nervous system monitors electromagnetic fluctuations in and around you all the time. Every time a person's heart beats next to you, your neurology knows it. And you're all seeking entrainment. You're all seeking connection. It can't not happen. If that's the case, what do we do about it? How do we work with it? Well, that's a different meetup for a different day, because I totally forgot where I was going with this. But we're going to clear blocks. We're going to clear blocks to our success. Everything that we do has a vibrational ramification. So when we start working and clearing blocks, whether it's a fear, whether it's a barrier, the first thing we need to do is we need to make a distinction. Is this something that is a mindset issue or a skill set issue? See, if you have this magnificent plan laid out and you know every single step that you need to take and you're not doing it, well, that's a mindset issue, right? If you are bursting with desire, passion, drive, you have no fucking clue where to go, that's a skill set issue. They're both fixable, right? You need both. So when you evaluate what your goals are, when you evaluate what it'll allow you to do, you need to find out what's really keeping me from achieving this. Is it a mindset or a skill set? What we're going to work with right now, we have techniques and processes for the skill set side. What we're going to work with right now is the mindset side. What are the feelings in our body? What are the holographic imprints in our neurology that are creating the things that are stopping us from doing what we want to do? And what we need to do is we need to get simple first. Your neurology is designed to target the most provocative, nasty, evil, traumatic experience of your life and choose that one first. When I pick for a group exercise, the first thing you want to do is, oh, I'm terrified of spiders. Let's do that. Right? I was molested when I was 3. Let's do that. No. I'm going to suggest that if you want to develop the skill to write your own tickets, the skill to run your own neurology, then you need to remember how your neurology learns and does things. Remember, before the break, I asked if anybody's ever bought a book on self-help that had a technique in it, and they tried to do the technique, the shit didn't work. How often was that the case versus the success?
All the time.
Yeah. And it's not your fault. The game is rigged. I am not going to be popular with the self-help community after tonight. Okay? There's a book you might want to read. It's called SHAM. Self-Help and Actualization Movement. That's the acronym SHAM. It's ironic. I don't know if it's even in print. It was recommended to me by a guy named Dan Kennedy. Some of you who do marketing may be familiar with him. Dan has forgotten more about marketing and direct response marketing than most of us will ever learn. So I trust what he says. And he says in that book they got it about 80% right. You've been sold a bill of goods by the self-help community. I'm sorry. Okay? Any book that teaches you what to do but not how to do it is fucking with you. Okay? Any book or video that says you got to be confident before you can be successful is lying to you. And I will prove it right now. How many people have ever been faced with something in life they had absolutely no fucking confidence in their ability to get it done whatsoever, but that shit had to be done? Would you say that happened more than once?
Yeah.
Did you get it done? Yeah. When did the confidence come? That's right. The self-help community is telling you that in order to be successful, you got to be confident. No. You got to be relentless. You got to be determined. You don't have to be confident. You don't even have to know what to do next. Do something. Take action. Figure it out as you go. I'm very much a ready, fire, aim dude. Okay? Now, there's some people that don't do that. My wife, direct opposite of me. I'm a ready, fire, aim dude. I just start. I'll figure it out as I go. I'll make a gazillion mistakes. My wife is the exact opposite. She has to have every contingency and the contingency to the contingency and the contingency to the contingency to the contingency worked out, and then she's got to triple check it 27 fucking times. And then she's got to work it out again. By the time she's just getting started, I've done 6, 7 projects. Now, here's the rub. She will make a lot less mistakes than me. But how often does it take to get out of the gate? You got to get started. Small steps, tiny steps, ridiculously, stupidly small steps. But start. Okay? You don't have to be confident. By the way, anytime somebody tells you they want to be more confident, you know what they're really saying? I want to stop being afraid.
Yeah.
You come into this world confident. Believe it or not. You learn how to be afraid. You're taught it. So anything we can learn, we can change. Okay? So, I'm getting off my pedestal now. When we do these processes, here's another delusion that we have to dispel. 2, actually. 1. Human beings believe that their memories are real. They, for the most part, believe that the memory of something is the event itself. Your neurology, with very few exceptions, treats it that way. Everything that you think is holding you back, everything that gives you a bad feeling whenever you remember it, is an illusion. It's not the event that screws us up. It's how we've encoded and recorded it in our neurology. And anything that your neurology records and encodes can be recoded. You just didn't know how to do it. You're going to learn tonight how to do it. And it's a skill set. But you got to start small. Why? Because when the message is at the door, the first thing that your neurology is going to do is it's going to say, hey, let's do this technique. It's going to, have we ever done that before? I don't know. Let's check. Nope. All right, I'll try it. Hope and try are related. Everybody have a pen. Everybody has those cool little notebooks. Those are yours to keep, by the way. Everybody grab your pen from your little notebook. Hold it out in front of you. Squeeze it between your fingers. Now follow my instructions exactly. Try to drop it. You fucking can't. I said try, motherfucker! I didn't say do it! The linguistic catch-22 of the word try is it implies an inability to complete an action. Gentlemen, if you ever want to know if the woman's going to return your phone call or show up on the date, just listen. I'll try to make it. Most of the time, you wind up staring at an empty chair or getting the voicemail, or 15 minutes into the date, her parakeet is having an existential crisis and she has to go home. You'll get that tomorrow. That's the bailout number. Try implies an inability to complete an action. That's what you will find yourself running into many times when you are faced with a technique that you have absolutely zero history with. Here's the problem. When that new technique knocks on your door, and this little guy runs back to see if you've got a history of success, what he's looking for is, have we ever done that before? What was the result? Your neurology sorts for what's familiar. Not for what's good, not for what's bad, not for what's ethically or morally correct. What's familiar. Whatever's been there the longest and the strongest is what your neurology orients on as normal, even if it's undesirable, cognitively. 0 to 5. Clean that shit up there, you'd be amazed how everyone around you suddenly seems to change. Okay? Just a little aside. When you are working for the self, when you're working on yourself, you must change the equation by which you learn and practice self-help techniques. This process we call bucket listing. Our neurology wants to take the biggest, nastiest, most provocative thing in our body and throw this little mamby-pamby technique we just pulled out of a book at it. Which do you think your neurology has more history doing? The problem that is presenting itself? Think there's some neurological pathways built into that? Say yes. Right? You think it's really good at it? Especially if you've been doing it for 10 or 20 years, right? And you're going to throw this technique that you have absolutely no history of success, barely understand the instructions, and wonder why it doesn't work. Anybody here ever tried to do self-hypnosis? Yeah. Remember I talked about smart person syndrome? This is the dumb smart person syndrome. This is where we try to do a self-help technique that, in order to work, usually relies on some form of trance and being fully absorbed in the process. Now, think about this for a moment. You got the book in one hand, the biggest, most nastiest Godzilla motherfucker problem on the planet, and you're trying to modulate it and be the patient at the same time. Any wonder this stuff doesn't work. So how do we fix it? How do we fix it? A, you need to reorganize your traumas. I'm joking, not really. What I mean is you need to reorganize the emotions and the feelings that you want to work with and start with the least challenging, least provocative things first. Now, at worst case scenario, when you start doing it this way, it's 50-50. It's actually more than that because you're bringing to bear the neurology the way it's supposed to be. But each and every time you knock down one of those little mamby-pamby problems, instant history of success. History of success. History of success. History of success. Now when you're presented with a problem that's only marginally more provocative, first thing your neurology is going to do, you ever deal with that before? I don't know, let me check. Oh yeah, we've done that before, it worked. Let's do that again. Anybody ever seen the movie Galaxy Quest? Yeah. There's that one scene where they're being attacked by the evil space aliens, and one of the guys throws out this long, drawn-out problem, but nobody else had a solution, so he goes, let's do that. That's literally what your neurology does. If your neurology has to make a decision between sorting for something that it's never done before and is potentially cool, or something that is provocative but familiar, guess what it'll sort for? Every other distinction that human beings make happens later. When you come out of the womb, there's only a couple of things that you really know. Something either feels good or it feels bad. It's either familiar or it's not. Everything else is a distinction that comes later on. And whatever you experience first is the template, the baseline for everything else. Now you can change it, it's not impossible, we do that all the time. But for most of us, you're running west looking for a sunrise. So I'm going to teach you something called bucket listing right now. I want you to pick, since most of us have fears that we want to deal with. How many people have some fears and some things that they want to deal with? If you don't, pick something. How many about blocks? Anybody got blocks? Okay, limiting beliefs. I'm going to go right down the list. Okay, as I go through these, just pick the one that is relevant to you. If you don't have fears, that's fine. If you have some blocks you're running into, that's fine too. But here's how I want you to organize this now. Usually what happens is when I tell people, think of a fear or block, the worst one's going to come up first. Dynamics of an unconscious versus a conscious response. This is important. Write this down. Tattoo it on the inside of your eyelids in glowing golden letters.
Could you say that again?
Tattoo it on the inside of your eyelids.
No, before that, wasn't it before that?
Dynamics of an unconscious response. A, your conscious mind always answers first. Period. Doesn't always answer verbally. If you've been to my lie detection workshops, you've seen this. If you've watched the show Lie to Me, you know this. If you've done any kind of neuroscience work, you know that the brain is making decisions long before we become aware of them. 2, it always feels like you're making it up. Always feels like you're making it up. 3, you have this insane urge to edit everything that comes up. How many people say, think of the very first thing, the very first scene, situation, or event that is the source of this, and you flash on something that happened when you were 2, but you know it happened when you were 5. No. It happened when you were 2. But it didn't fit your expectation, so you deleted it. The conscious mind is the realm of expectation. Trust what comes up first, no matter how subtle, stupid, nonlinear, metaphorical it may be. That's what will get you the change. And this goes back to the next one. It's almost never linear. In other words, many times where you end up isn't where you wind up or where you expected to go. Or if you do go back to what you expected, it's a different aspect or a different perspective. One lady I treated many, many years ago for stage fright didn't have a problem with the audience. Every time she saw the light, she went into a panic attack because she was looking at the light when the fear hit her. Had nothing to do with the audience. Your unconscious mind records holographically. And you only have flashlight type or microscopic memory when you're experiencing those memories. Those memories are not real. They're imperfect recordings of something that happened to you once. Now, you may have had similar occurrences, using a less than positive one. Molestation tends to happen several times, but each of those episodes happened once, right? How many people ever had the experience of getting really, really drunk and never being able to look at that fucking booze again? That particular kind. That shit only happened once, right? But every time you see the booze or you see the stimulus, you replay the movie. And your neurology treats it like the event. It isn't. It's just a really good friggin' recording. But here's the rub. That recording isn't even accurate. Neuroscience has shown that every time you revisit a memory, it changes. So the memories that you're using to run your life aren't even what really happened. How fucked is that? Best thing you could hear. Why? Because if the memories that you have aren't even real, why not change them? How about if your system's going to default to memorizing? What if when we remembered the past, we only remembered it in ways that made our life better? That empowered us? That gave us the feelings and the beliefs and the perceptions of ourself, the world, and everyone in it that we chose instead of what was chosen for us. Because that's the rub. It's not your fault. None of it. Regardless of what you think, regardless of what you believe you could have done instead, you did the best you could with the information you had at times and places where you didn't understand any of this. It's not your fault what happened. But it is your responsibility for cleaning it up. And that's cool. Right? Because you can. You can. We have to start, especially if you're going to, again, most of you are here to fix your own shit. And that's cool. Right? If you're going to see me and you want my help fixing your shit, Still learn this, because you're going to learn it, you're going to use it a lot. If you're one of those special kind of stupid that wants to fix other people's shit, get really good at this. Right? There's a progression that we go through. So first and foremost, if it's a fear, find the worst fear ever. Create a 0 to 10 scale. 10 being the most provocative thing that you're afraid to do. Now make sure, and let's be very clear, when I'm talking about fears, I'm talking about things you want to do, but are afraid to do. Okay? If you're, if you're trying to come up with, things I'm really afraid of. Well, I'm really afraid of jumping out of an airplane, but you have absolutely no desire to ever jump out of an airplane. Why the fuck put it on the list? Focus on the things that are holding you back from doing what you want. Follow me? Find the most provocative, the most challenging one, the one you want to do the most but are the most afraid to do. That becomes your 10. Cut that level of intensity in half. Find events in your life that are half that level of fear, using fear as an example. List those events under the 5. Cut that in half. Now you're at 2.5. Find the events that have that level of intensity to them. And just keep working backward in whatever increments are practical for you until you get to 0. 0 being, don't give a shit. Like a fart in a breeze. Gone. Right? Organize your experiences that way. Now we're going to keep it just at 5, just to keep it simple, right? If you have anger issues, like me, I'm the poster child for rage. Right? You see me when my meds kick in, right? Let's say I'm, on one level, at my 10 level, I am scathingly angry at my ex-wife, for whatever reason, or her husband, for that matter, right? And down here, it's like somebody spilled coffee on the rug and I don't clean it up. I pay people to do that shit. So it's my 1 or 0. We're going to start with the 1s and 0s when we do this process. Why? Because we want to develop a history of success while at the same time practicing the technique where all of our neurologies, all the different levels of our awareness are working together. Remember, the more emotionally provocative an event becomes, the faster your neocortex checks out. If you don't believe me, get the book Willpower by Roy Baumeister. Your willpower is a finite resource. Okay? It's determined specifically on the amount of sleep and blood sugar available in your system. And you burn up willpower points every time you have to control or manage an emotional response. This is why on a Friday, a hard day at the office, no matter how good we've been in our diet, we're in the fucking refrigerator up to our elbows, finding pizza, beer, and anything else that'll make us feel good. The tank is empty. Right? These are the things. When we're bored, when we're angry, this is when we tend to go off of our diets. Why? Emotional bankruptcy. The emotions have taken over. We've managed them to the point where our willpower is exhausted. And when that happens, the neurology defaults to pre-programmed hedonistic behavior. Okay? I don't make the rules, I just report them. Okay? So, everybody got this? All right, so here's what we do next. You got your shit written down, you need a minute or two. Yes, sir?
What is the name of the author of the Willpower?
Roy Baumeister, Baumeister. I think there's another one out there which is basically the same thing on willpower depletion theory. Willpower depletion theory has come under fire in the past 6 months or so, but there's enough about willpower depletion theory to coincide with what the Chinese medical system is telling us about willpower and what we call Jing reserves, that with a few tweaks we can come up with a more modified version of the theory that really does explain a lot of these things. Okay? But anytime that you have to engage in very deep control or strong, rigid control of a powerful emotion, you burn up willpower. Anytime you engage in deep critical thinking, analytical thinking, like math equations and shit. I know some of you are really good at math. That ain't me. That's why I put needles in people. Right? You will burn up willpower. In fact, you'll respond to these things the same way we respond to pain. That's been proven. They took college sophomores and white rats. Actually, they used college sophomores for this because there are some things that college sophomores will do that white rats won't, no matter how much you pay them or how much beer you buy them. But what they did was they took these kids, they had them engage in very deep, critical problem solving, things like that, analytical stuff. And they took EEG readings and things like that. Then they took these same kids and stuck their hand in a bucket of ice water. And the readings were practically identical. The takeaway was human beings respond to intense critical thinking the way we do to pain. We don't like it. And the more we have to engage in it, the faster we have to burn our willpower to keep there. That's why when you have a choice between, paying the gas bill, Three Stooges. Right? You guys don't know who the Three Stooges are? I'm in deep shit. I'm an old mofo. All right? So, getting back to this, look at your list. Everybody stand up. Look at your list, find out what your 1 or your 0 is. First thing I want you to do is I want you to assume, first thing we're going to start right from scratch, right from state control 101. First thing I want you to do is I want you to remember your winner feeling. Just hit the posture, right? If you want to do the power pose, do that. Once you got that, I want you to remember the color connected to those feelings. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to breathe that color through your entire body. From the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Let it fill you up like water fills up a bottle, like fluid fills up a test tube. Take all the time you need. Once you got that, then what I want you to do is I want you to scan your body. Notice any places of extra tightness or tension, places of extra density, and breathe more of your winner color through those areas, kind of like letting hot water run over an ice cube. And notice what happens. Take all the time you need to let those dissolve as they need to. When you know you got that, just allow your eyes to open and move and look up here. Excellent. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go to the first thing on your list. There's a feeling connected to that thing. This feeling you want to change. Feeling that has everything to do with why you're here today. I want you to take your hand. I want you to point to where you feel it. As you point to where you feel it, I want you to imagine that floating in the space around you is a picture that represents that feeling. I want you to reach out and touch it for me. Now take both of your hands. Always go with your first impression. Trace the outline of that picture with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Just to make sure we got the right one, grab the edges of it. Make it bigger. Notice what happens to the feeling. What'd you notice?
Got stronger.
Got stronger? Good. Now bring it back to its original size. Now, slowly, without changing the size of it at all, pull it closer to your body. Notice what happens to the feeling. What do you notice? You, sir.
Closer. Got stronger.
Got stronger? Perfect. Put it back to where it was. Lift it up over your head. Pull it down around you like a big blanket. I know. Why is he bathing us in shit? All right, unwrap it, lift it back up, put it back in front of you. Now, just for fun, put a big black frame around it. Now, most of you are too young to remember when televisions had real dials and knobs and switches. But I want you to feel along the bottom of that frame. I want you to notice there's some dials and some knobs and some switches. I want you to find the one that controls the brightness or the contrast. I want you to turn it all the way to the right until the image whites out completely. And notice how that makes you feel. Then turn it all the way to the left until the image blacks out completely. And notice how that makes you feel. And then pay attention to which one you like better. When you know which one you like better, all I want you to do is turn the dial all the way to that direction until the image whites out or blacks out completely. Now here's the interesting thing. There were some lessons that this experience had to teach you. Taking the index finger of your dominant hand, like a stylus on a tablet, I want you to write those lessons across the screen in glowing golden letters so you can keep the lessons and let the rest go. Now here's the best part. You don't even know what the fuck, you need to know what the fuck you're writing. Just start. Now you may notice many times as this process happens, people start writing with both hands simultaneously. It's almost like they're writing Chinese and Hebrew at the same time, right? You may notice emotions and feelings coming up. If it comes up, write it on that screen. Now the screen will scroll just like a tablet, so you can write as much or as little as you want and just keep going until you know it's done. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be positive. Just keep writing until you know it's done. Now, for the sake of, because this is a group exercise, some people will take longer than others to do this, and that's okay. I am going to take up like 3 or 4 seconds to let you finish. If you're still not done, work at your own pace and let your unconscious mind follow the steps on its own. If you're yawning or doing any kind of weird sensations in your body, that's right. When you know you've got that, when you know it's all on that screen, shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp. Without sliming the person behind you, throw it up over your head, back behind the horizon, till it disappears completely. And you know the sound a nail gun makes? Hear the sound of a nail gun, nailing that shit back there for all eternity until it's impossible to come back. When you know it's nailed back there for all eternity, try to bring that shit back and notice what happens instead. It doesn't come, that's right. Scan your body, notice how different you feel. Breathe your success energy through that area that you just cleared out and notice what happens. When you know you got that, open your eyes, notice how different you feel. You just learned everything you need to know to clear simple shit up. Yes?
What did you say to write with a positive?
Usually what happens, and I use this particular process for a reason. Many times when people go through an experience, we derive and infer lessons from it.
So they're the lessons. Okay, I thought I did it wrong.
No.
Because I didn't think of why should I leave the lessons back there.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm going to explain that in a minute, but if I spent all the time teaching you the theory, you'd never get the technique. You'd get bogged down in all the conscious learnings without actually getting the technique. Your conscious mind would actually have screwed you up. In its quest for understanding, it would have decreased your ability to do it. There's another myth that we labor under, that we need to fully understand something before we can do it. And it's the conscious mind that seeks to understand. You don't. If you can point to where you feel it.
Behavioral psychology.
Mm-hmm. The meat is running the show, ladies and gentlemen. Not because it's the most powerful part, but it's the way all of the other subtle aspects express themselves. And because it's the gatekeeper to everything, you got to make friends with it. You got to understand it. Because nothing will change without it. Unless you want to talk and talk and talk and can't make this shit last, drag it out. It's not about, words are important, but in the scheme of things, they're only one piece. Okay, so how many people noticed that their number one is gone? Raise your hands, show me. Show me.
Feels like it.
Yeah, try to bring it back. Notice what happens instead.
It's in a coffin right now.
In the coffin? Perfect. Some people hear toilet flushing. That's okay too. Right? Whatever metaphor you want will work, as long as it signifies done. Okay? And I'll explain neurologically how and why that works, but I wanted you to have the experience of it first. Because I can explain it all day long and you'll create an expectation, but if I just let you experience it, now you'll understand. You'll really get it. So, what's the next thing on your list? Look at your list, it's okay. Point to where you feel it. Imagine there's a picture floating in the space around you that represents that feeling. Reach out and touch it. Excellent. Make sure we got the right one so you can grab it and make the picture bigger, smaller, move it to or just stick your arm into it up to the elbow. Notice what happens to the feeling in your body as you do that. When you know it's the right one, put a big black frame around it. Find the knob that whites the image out or blackens the image out. In glowing golden letters, write the lessons on this screen so you can keep the lessons and let everything else go. Now, here's the thing. When I say lessons, it may not just be lessons. You may get feelings and emotions, and some people just write, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you across that screen. It doesn't matter. If it comes up, this is important, no matter what it is, no matter how nonsensical, no matter how ridiculous it seems, get it on the screen. Physically write it out with your fingers, with your hands, until it's all done. I've had people write for 20 minutes. I've had people go into screaming abreactions doing this. Just keep going. When it's done, and only when it's done, reach up with both hands. Shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp. Float it up over the top of your head, back beyond the horizon, and feel it nailed back there for all eternity. And when you know it's nailed back there for all eternity, test it. Try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. And then when you're done, just look up here. Pretty cool? Oh, it's going to get better. One more time. Now, if you want to keep going up the scale, you can. I recommend you stay at about a 1 or 2. Get your reps in. Right? Get the reps in. Build up the history of success and belief in the technique from experience through the easy stuff, because there's not going to be much difference between the 1s and the 9s eventually. Okay? So one more time, find something you want to change. Point to where you feel it. Reach out and touch the picture. Excellent. Make sure it's the right one. Check it. Test it. Move the picture around. Make it bigger, smaller. Make sure it's the right one. Then put a big frame around it. Find the knob that whitens or blackens the image out. With your magic index finger, write the lessons and other stuff on the screen so you can keep the lessons and let the rest go. Let the feelings come up. Remember, the only reason people get sick in my chair is because of things they're not letting out. As you feel it, you reveal it. As you reveal it, you heal it. Solve, dissolved, and resolved from the body. Solve, dissolved, and resolved from the mind for all the right reasons. Stay with the process. Shrink it down. Move it up over the top of your head, back beyond the horizon. When you know it's locked back there for all eternity, try to bring that shit back. Notice what happens instead. Be honest. What do you notice? You're still processing.
No, I'm trying to pull it back just to see if it'll come, and it's there.
That's right. And that's neuroscience. Okay? This is how you work. Studies in embodied cognition, studies in object relations theory, your basic neuroscience, NLP, all of these things are telling us that your system is metaphorical as well as literal. Your system monitors and creates the sensation of emotional warmth using the same parts of your brain that monitor physical warmth. So much so that if I give you a warm drink to hold, you will actually feel more warm towards me. The visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and olfactory cortexes of your brain overlap by as much as 40%. The problem that we have is we live in a society that separates everything from everything else. We separate our words from our feelings, our body movements from our words. Everything, talk therapy, body therapy, energy therapy. And yet, and these all can work, but the amount of energy, how long did you have some of these things that you just nuked? Years. How long did it take?
Minutes.
Why? Because you combined the system the way it was supposed to be used. You put it back. You got a whole that's greater than the sum of the parts. You completed the hologram. And when you understand the nature of the hologram that is the human being, oh boy, life just gets more and more fun. Now you don't have to believe me. And if this doesn't resonate with you, don't use it. However, how many people would like to have some more good stuff? Would that be cool? What if we could use this same technique to get good stuff? Would that be cool? I want you to think of something you want a whole lot more of. But maybe you felt blocked about it for some reason. Notice that there's a place in your body where that feeling lives. Point to it. Reach out, touch the picture. Make sure it's the right one. Pull it closer to your body, make it bigger. Just play around with it a little bit. Explore how this internal representation, which is actually a holographic imprint, notice how moving it around changes your experience of it. Now, this is something you guys want more of? Is there any reason, go with your first impression, why you might not want to have it? Is there any part of you that thinks you shouldn't have it or doesn't want to have it? Point to where you feel that. Notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What color is that first impression? Go with your first impression. Now, take both of your hands. Reach into that spot. Grab all of that color with both of your hands. Take it out and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides. I've had people dig for 20 minutes. I don't care. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at it. First thing I want you to notice, did the color change or stay the same? First impression. That's right. Whether it changed or didn't is perfect. Notice it's moving. It's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to grab it with both of your hands. Direction has meaning to your neurology. I want you to play with the direction this thing is moving until you find the direction that gives you the feeling you want to have instead. When you find that direction, I want you to spin it like a wheel. Double the spin. Double the speed. Double the force. Double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Notice the change. Notice it's gone. Notice as this new program works its way deeper and deeper and deeper into your neurology. Any program, any belief, any memory, any experience that's not in harmony with this new set of instructions, your neurology is going to begin to shed. It's going to begin to purge like a snake shedding its skin. Like old software being uninstalled by newer, better, more powerful software. Don't try to measure it, manage it, or make it happen faster. Just notice the process taking place. Allow it to install itself completely. When you know it's done, when you know it's locked in, try to turn the new feeling off. Try to bring the old feeling back and notice what happens instead. Now, many times when people do this for the first time, they feel heat, they feel laughing or coughing or yawning or all kinds of weird physical sensations. Sometimes people get very hot, sometimes they twitch. Some people just feel waves of emotion coming up. Whatever happens, however your body expresses this is perfectly right and natural for you. Just allow the process to take place. As it comes up, it comes out. As you feel it, you reveal it. What you're experiencing is the neurological reset, the emotional detox phase. Stay with it. Be with it till the process is done. And when you know it's done, try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. And when you got that, when you know you're done, just open your eyes, look over here, take your time. What'd you notice?
What did I notice?
Yeah.
Just a shift that I couldn't bring it back.
Oh, you mean you're stuck being awesome now?
Yeah.
What happened? He's still processing. He's done. What'd you notice?
It was nice.
It was nice?
Very nice.
What'd you notice?
I think I'm sort of conflicted as to what to focus on, and so I think of one thing in my life that I think I want to do more of, and then I think, do I really want to do that? And then I'm sort of
Overthinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's common. That's common. That's your neocortex saying, hey, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm still here, motherfucker.
Exactly.
I need to understand. No, that's not right. Shut the fuck up. Now, think of that thing that you really want. Notice what happens now. You want more of. What happens? What do you notice?
Very light, like the tingly feeling.
You get tingly? Point to where you feel it. Reach out, touch the picture. Grab that fucker. Make it as big as a drive-in movie theater screen. Now make it three-dimensional. Turn up the colors, like an IMAX. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Turn up the sounds. Turn up the tastes and the smells and the feelings. Best feeling ever. When you know you got that, notice where in your body you feel it. Point to it. Notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What color is that? First impression. Now, what I want you to do, two things. I want you to take this picture that you've created, and now I want you to turn it into a movie. Best alternate reality movie ever. And I want you to go as far back in your life as you need to go. Make the changes you need to change to be this awesome person. Everything's allowed. I had one lady, all she wanted was ice cream and hugs. Another dude, all he wanted was consecutive dates with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. When I say everything's allowed, I mean everything. Cast it, write it, script it, direct it. Best alternate reality movie ever. When it's perfect in every way. I want you to watch it. Start to finish. Not once, not twice, but hundreds and thousands of times over and over and over again. With each repetition, I want you to make it 10 times stronger, 10 times more real, 100 times more thrilling, fulfilling, and satisfying than anything ever, until it becomes more real than any experience you've ever had, until it overwrites every experience you've ever had. I want you to notice how the feelings and the colors connected to those feelings begin to double in size and strength, double in force and magnitude. How they begin to spread, filling you up from the top of your head to the tips of your toes and all points in between. And it just keeps getting stronger until it becomes so strong, in fact, that your body can't contain all of that amazing, infinite, unlimited energy. It begins to stream out of your body in an ever-expanding, infinite, unlimited supply, forming a brilliant colored frame around that new reality that you've created. When you're ready to claim it, when you're ready for it, reach out with both your hands, physically grab that frame and that new reality inside it. Lift it up over your head. Expand it to fill the universe. Pull it down through your entire being, head to toe, mind, body, and soul, and notice what happens to every point of resistance connected to this new reality. And just keep passing that frame through your body over and over and over again until every part of you is vibrating and resonating in complete harmony. Mind, body, soul. Impossible to turn off. Breathe those colors through your entire body. Anchor them in so fully and completely into the very DNA of your system till it's impossible to turn off. When you know you've got that, try to go back to the old way of being and notice what happens instead. Excellent. Now, reach out, grab the picture once again, expand it, make it slightly transparent. In glowing golden letters across that screen, I want you to write down all the reasons why you deserve this. Notice the feelings in your body, how the feelings in your body shift and change as you express and create and rewrite your hologram. And every reason's allowed. Doesn't have to be altruistic. It can be purely selfish. As long as it gives you what you want, the way you want it, the way you know you're getting it, awesome sauce. Now, when you know you got that, I want you to use your magic internal photocopier. I want you to make an exact carbon copy, high-def holographic duplicate of that. I want you to take one, lift it up over your head, wrap it around you like a big blanket. Take the other one and put it off, expand it, make it like a panorama so that it's like a windshield on a car. You can see the entire world through that filter. So that everywhere you go and every place you see and everything you interact with is seen through the eyes of a person deserving to have these awesome things. And you're constantly reminded of all the reasons why you deserve this. When you know you've got it, let it just fix itself into place. Allow everything to lock in. When you know you got it, try to go back to the old way of being and notice what happens instead. And then open your eyes and notice how different the world looks. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Have a seat. I'm so glad we had this time together, just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long.
So long.
If you had a good time tonight, please post good things to the meetup. If you didn't, please post to somebody else's. Have a great 2017. We'll see you in a few weeks. Thank you all for coming out. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you.
For the seeing.
Excuse me. Thank you.
You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I signed up. Thank you.
It's okay if you don't answer. Are you part of a society?
You mean like the Society of NLP or something?
No. Secret society.
No. I'm a rogue.
No, I'm just wondering. Okay. And the last question: is it possible that some people you deal with can't do what you're trying to teach because
Not so much. It's more of an unwillingness to do it, and an unwillingness to work at what they can do before they can do other things. Most people come in and they see like these big monster responses, and they can't get that, and so they think they're failing. But the worst thing you can do with any of this is compare yourself to anybody next to you. As long as you're willing to go through the process, success is inevitable. But it's everybody's degree of responsiveness and expressiveness is going to change. It's going to be
like, for example, if you're trying to be warm to somebody, and that person, is it possible that person can't express warmth because of who they are?
Yeah, they've got filters in place that don't allow that to be expressed. It's not that they don't have the potential for it, it's just that they haven't developed that faculty. But everything that your neurology mediates can be changed.
In the session, do you do hypnosis?
In the session, we do a combination of things. It's all in trance work, but not always straight hypnosis as we understand it. All trauma work is self-hypnotic trance.
I'm going to run you next Monday.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you. Hmm? Hey, brother.
Yeah, great way to spend a birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks again
My pleasure.
for what you do.
Hi, me. Hey there. I'm David.
My girlfriend.
Nice to meet you. You guys have fun?
Yes, a lot of fun, and she is a lot into the spiritual
Okay.
path and all that. But I wanted to bring her here because you talk a lot of energy.
Mhm.
I think it's super fascinating.
It's all the same elephant.
Yes.
You have to feed people. You have to give people what they can digest and are willing to assimilate. And once they have that and they've proven to themselves the validity of what you've got, then they become more open for a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. The problem is we ask people to take too big a leap too quick.
Oh yeah.
They can't digest it. It's too different from what they believe the world to be.
No, right now you're not offering courses.
We got one January 27th, 28th, and 29th. The one you took, as a matter of fact. Much better now. We've really honed it down.
Oh, 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days.
Plus a day, supercharged.
Yeah, we're doing that again.
Every time that I come, you show us more different things.
Oh yeah, we keep learning. We got stuff now that I had no clue about when you came to class. It's crazy. The more I teach, the more I learn. The universe makes sure I get more. That's why it's purely selfish. Every time I stand up here and I give shit I just got, I get more. Or the universe says, oh, he's ready for the next level. Here's an asshole case. And then I have to really figure it out. Right? But that's just kind of how it works, you know. It's like a video game. The levels get harder, you got to go higher.
I was telling her about the break room.
Mm-hmm. Grey room we still use.
Yes, it's nice.
But we've got other things now that are like insanely powerful and faster. But Grey room still cooks the rice a lot. Every now and then when nothing else working, I go back to Grey room and kicks ass. Yeah. I don't waste time on low percentage technique. I don't have time. Yeah. Yeah. And it gets and it meets all the criteria for holographic interventions. It's breath work, it's feeling, it's somatic bridging. We didn't cover all that stuff. You don't need to know it.
Actually, today it was more complicated. That's awesome. It was harder for me to follow up with you, but that's great because you're putting my mind to it faster.
Because you were expecting the old shit.
Yes, that's right. But it is good because you were talking about amplitude,
Mhm.
more high-end terminology and all that.
Mhm.
More low. that's keeping us more interested in it.
I'm evolving. I never stop learning, and as I teach and as I discover new things, it comes out. I'm just a conduit.
Good. Let's
Yeah. If you want to come to the training, let me know. I'll send you a link.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Pleasure meeting you. You have a great night. Line them up. Oh, this one knows me. I wanted my wife to come and meet you, but I guess she's not making it.
No, she keeps sending me invitations.
Does she?
to
Yeah.
things.
She has some stuff she wants you to help her with.
She wants
Yeah.
to work with.
Yeah.
This is my infant child.
Your infant child. Right on, man.
My littlest.
Mom drug you here, huh? No, you didn't feel. Did you enjoy the show? Cool. Cool.
He's back on his self-scrutiny chart.
Oh, cool. Oh, we're gonna be here. We're here twice a month. Plus, we're gonna be doing events during the week over at my clinic. Here, we just do the big meetups and the ones that are more energy-based, more technique-based. I'll probably start doing stuff for practitioners too again. But we also have the mastermind things. So, but it's all going through changes. We're all gonna start our first webinars this month.
I know. There's one more box. Technology.
Oh, I hired somebody to do it.
Right?
I just show up on the camera and look pretty. I know, it's going to take a lot of CGI. You out of here?
I am out of here.
All right, good. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
I wanted to thank you.
My pleasure.
I was lucky enough to get one of the slots.
Oh, excellent.
One of the exercises I did have a question on, maybe I didn't quite hear it right. So there's two things